Hey, my name is Val, and welcome to the Dairy Hour podcast, where the future of farming isn't just in our fields, it's in our voices. Pull up a chair, friend. Let's share the story of agriculture, one voice at a time. As a busy mom and dairy farmer, I'm always looking for ways to support my family's health as well as my own, and I absolutely love Wonder Cow Colostrum. It's packed with essential nutrients, great for supporting gut health, boosts immunity, and promotes overall wellness. Whether it's for me, my kids, or anyone looking to stay strong and healthy, Wonder Cow is my go-to daily supplement. I have been taking it for a year now, and it is irreplaceable in my daily routine. If you want to experience the amazing benefits of colostrum too, you can use my special code, DairyGalVal, at checkout for a discount. Give Wonder Cow a try, and you will definitely feel the difference. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Dairy Hour podcast. I am your host, Val Lavigne, and I am joined today by Ann Marie Krautheim. Did I do it right?
You did.
Yay! Okay. I was nervous about butchering your last name, Ann Marie, but we got it. And how are you today, Ann Marie?
Great. Thank you. It's wonderful to be with you, Val, and part of your podcast.
Awesome. I'm so excited to get to chat with you. I've met you multiple times doing different work through Dairy Checkoff and whatnot and GENYOUth. And so I'm really excited to get to know you better and have a chance to sit down and chit chat.
Amazing. Yeah. And it's been so much fun to get to know you and the other farmers in New York and across the country. I've actually worked for Dairy Checkoff for over 30 years, started when I was 7. And I'm just really proud of the work that we're doing on behalf of America's dairy farmers and the opportunity to be out on the farms. And I know we saw each other when we visited Audrey Donahoe's farm in the recent past.
Yes. So, Ann Marie, for those that don't know you, why don't you give us, your introduction? Who are you?
Okay, great. I am a registered dietitian by training. Presently, I'm the CEO of GENYOUth. We are a national nonprofit that was co-founded by America's dairy farmers in collaboration with the NFL. And at GENYOUth, our mission, much like Farmers' mission, is to ensure that children thrive by living a well-nourished and physically active life. And we do that by working with and through the school community to increase access to healthy school meals, which include milk and dairy. They're an essential component of school meals. And then also provide opportunities for children to be active before, during, and after the school day. And we do that by bringing together other public and private sector partners to put forth funding and in-kind resources that schools need to be successful.
Awesome. I love it. And I have loved I've obviously loved getting to know you over the past few years that I've known you, but getting to see the really great work that GENYOUth is doing out there, because there should be absolutely no people in this entire country, not just dairy farmers, but I'm talking the entire population. There should be nobody that doesn't care about our youth being taken care of in schools, because it's so important to make sure that we're nourishing the next generation, teaching them how to move their body right and teaching them how to, be active, fuel their body, do all the things. And GENYOUth does such a fantastic job of promoting that, getting kids excited about doing those things. And I think that that's a huge part, is just getting that excitement. Like, I have to go play on the playground again. Like, it's so boring. But the way that GENYOUth goes about things, it brings this energy into the room. And every single person that I've met from GENYOUth, every program I've been a part of, the energy and the feeling is just it's intense, but it's a great intense. It's just a fun way to be a part of it.
So. Well, that makes me so happy to hear you say that. And that really is, at the end of the day, we actually have a National Youth Council at GENYOUth, and it's a group of about 20 kids that are diverse in geography and race, ethnicity, economical, status. But they tell us if it's about us, don't do it without us. So we really do try to incorporate youth voice in informing our work and helping us to identify those problems at the school level in terms of nutrition and physical activity, and then really help them to identify solutions that are going to be successful. Because at the end of the day, if the work we're doing and bringing other people's money to the table to help support is not going to inspire children to want to be part of the school breakfast program or finish the great food and milk that's served to them in school, or participate in physical education class, it's really not going to help anyone. And in this country, we have 30 million kids every day relying on school meals. Only 15 million of those kids participate in breakfast, which means so many kids, the 1 in 5 children in the country that live in food insecurity and wake up every day wondering where their next meal will come from. We need to increase access and participation, particularly to that morning meal. Milk is a required component. Yogurt is often included, as well as cheese. And it helps not only fuel their minds and bodies so they're ready to start the school day. So at the end of the day, I'm glad to hear that you were inspired. Kids are inspired, and we're really making a difference to help children thrive and be their best selves.
Definitely. And, like I said, I've been to a few different GENYOUth events and they are just awesome. But, making sure that kids are getting that access and taking advantage of those school meals is also so important, because food insecurity in this country is a real thing and it's a scary thing. And, I can't imagine, even as a parent now, I think that it hits home even more as a parent. It's always been something I've been passionate about, is making sure that kids have access to healthy, nutritious food. But even now as a parent, I feel like that passion has tenfold, because I see my kids and, just imagining them having to go without a meal, or, not know where their next meal is coming from. That's not something that I ever want to have to, I don't ever want to have to see that or have that happen. And, just again, kudos to the program. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Well, thank you. And, to your point, all children deserve access, regardless of where they live and, what their socioeconomic status is. And we believe that schools are the great equalizer in that area. They provide, free meals to kids who need them most. Children qualify for free or reduced price meals. They give them, some kids, that's the last meal they have. When they go home at the end of the day, they don't eat again until they get to school the next morning. It also provides safe places for children to play. There's not a fee to be, participating in these activities. And it also, they don't need additional transportation to go somewhere else to get good nutrition or physical activity with that school environment. But they need our help. The budgets are very tight. School nutrition operates outside of the education budget. They're kind of their own business within the school district. And what we found is the reason kids are not consuming school breakfast at the level that they could or should is because there's barriers that exist. There's lack of time. Kids don't necessarily have time to make their way to the cafeteria when they're getting to school in the morning. And often, sadly, there's a stigma associated with eating breakfast in the cafeteria, and they don't want their friends to think they don't have food at home. So the grants that we bring to school that are funded through other partners who share in this mission, from Kellogg to Tyson to Quaker, we have a lot of organizations like dairy farmers that really care about children and their nourishment. But we give grants to schools that brings that breakfast right to where the kids are getting off the bus. We provide grab and go school meal equipment that wheels that healthy school meal, the milk barrel, right to where those kids are coming in. They literally grab and go to their classroom, and it overcomes those barriers of time and stigma and really fuels children so they're ready to start their day.
Awesome. Yeah, again, really great things. And it's amazing how much things have changed just since I was a kid, seeing just the really great positive changes within schools and getting those school meals into the hands of the kids that need them.
Yeah, yes. And it's and the school nutrition staff, they're, truly I think unsung heroes in the school. They work so hard every day to nourish children, and they know they do better academically. Research shows that kids who eat breakfast to have better reading, better math, they're better behaved in the classroom, there's less absenteeism, and they're healthier. Research out of Tufts University actually shows that children, out of all the food that children are eating, school meals are the healthiest. And I'm confident that's because milk, is a part of every school meal, and other dairy products, in addition to the lean protein and fruit and vegetable. And the more children we can engage in those school meals, I think the better kids will be off.
Definitely. So I want to take a minute and pivot, and I want to talk about you more, Ann Marie, because, one just doesn't acquire this passion out of nowheres. So bring us back to you growing up. Where did you grow up? What was life like for you growing up?
Okay. I grew up in Toledo, Ohio. My mom was a school nurse, which was great because she was home in the summer, but really, her career and her dedication was in the school building, helping take care of children. So that may have rubbed off on me in some way. And then my father was an engineer. And so I think science and health were always part of my upbringing in my household. I also spent a lot of my summers as a summer camp participant, and then in my collegiate years as a summer camp counselor, and really saw, a wide variety of children and the supports better and developed a better understanding of the supports that they need to really be their best selves. I was interested initially in going into more of a physical therapy type of field and went and volunteered at a local hospital in their physical therapy department. And it wasn't quite what I was expecting. So I went and actually my mom had the wise idea to go meet with a college kind of academic counselor in the sphere of health profession careers. And I came across nutrition and dietetics, which at the time I didn't even know was a career, and really just fell in love with it. I've always been a fan of food, and then tying it to health and well-being and, that aspect, it just drew me in. And so that is what I studied and got my degree in at Ohio State University. And then through my work, my first position actually was with American Dairy Association Dairy Council Mideast, and they covered Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, and West Virginia at the time. And I did a lot in the space of communications because I wanted to not only talk to people about nutrition, face to face, but I saw the power of the media in terms of reaching the consumer with information about health and nutrition, and also really became passionate about helping people to stay healthy rather than waiting till they were in that hospital bed to try to course correct at that time. That's still important work, but what I really was drawn to were helping people develop those healthy behaviors and maintain their health and well-being through good nutrition starting at an early age.
So, you get out of college and did you have any experience with dairy? Did you have any particular draw to dairy, or did you just kind of fall into it as like, oh, they have a job opening, it looks interesting, let's give that a try?
Yeah, it's actually an interesting story. I've always been a fan of dairy, big milk drinker growing up, cheese, yogurt, you name it, sour cream. I think we've got to this day multiple varieties of all those products in the refrigerator or the freezer. But actually, when I was at Ohio State, as part of my dietetics curriculum, we needed to do internships, and one of those internships needed to be an organization that was engaged in the community. So Dairy Council Mideast was where I was placed as an intern, and I just fell in love with the work that was being done through them with nutrition education and nutrition communications. I learned a lot more about dairy and dairy farmers as part of that organization. And luckily, when I was graduating, there was a position open. I applied for it and was hired, and really began my career in that role.
So you didn't really have anything to do with dairy being from Toledo, Ohio. It
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
forefront.
I probably had been, around some cows, but I didn't deeply understand the business, the people, the care that goes into the product. I've really learned so much through my time with the Checkoff. As you know, we brought our GENYOUth team out to Audrey's farm. We also have been to Marilyn Hershey's farm. We've been to milk processing plants. We really believe that it's important that the people working on behalf of farmers have an understanding of not only the nutrition in the product that you produce, but all the care and innovation that happens at the farm. So whether it's product safety, what you do to care for the cows, what you do to care for the water, how you're in stewards of the environment, I think it's just part of our DNA. And I've just grown very, appreciative and knowledgeable. And every farmer does it a little bit different, right? That's the other thing I've observed is they do what works for their business. Varying businesses have varying sizes. We've seen everything from the carousel milking to the robotic milking to more the traditional milking. So it's just, I've really steeped myself in wanting to learn more. And we've done that with our staff as well.
And as a dairy farmer, that sits on the checkoff board, we appreciate you putting that extra effort into, make sure that your staff is aware of, if you don't have staff sitting in an office somewhere is going, well, I've never actually seen a cow in my entire life. And I love the fact that you take that initiative to get them out on the farm, get them to learn where that food is coming from, how it's being produced. And I really like the way that you, want to instill in them, like, dairy farming is not a cookie cutter thing. It's not identical operations. Everybody has a little bit of different way of going about things and different technologies, and it's just so fascinating. And it's something you can, even me as a dairy farmer, like, you can immerse yourself in all of these differences, and it's just fascinating to see all of the little things and to go different places. You maybe gain a little bit of information from someone, take it back to your own farm, put it to work there. And just the way that you explained that, I like the way you went about that. So that
Yeah.
was
The one thing I did find consistent, while all the farms were different in terms of their operations, I would say the one piece that's been consistent are the people and their commitment to their work, which encompasses, what we just talked about, the nutritional product, the safety, the care of the cows, the environment. I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is that we work on behalf of very good people. And that's just been, one of my favorite things in visiting the farm, not only to learn about the business, but also to get to know the farmers.
awesome. And so you got this job at American Dairy Association Mideast. You said you were more in the communications department. So how did things, evolve from there for you?
Yeah, we were, I think, one of the early pioneers. When I got my master's degree in communications and was working for Mideast, we started a program where the dietitians working on behalf of Checkoff, we started pitching them to the media because there were a lot of interest in the media on health and nutrition, but nobody was really there telling dairy's story. So we started creating opportunities and hooks and stories to get the media interested in dairy nutrition. So we started a nutrition communications program. We helped our registered dietitians become media trained. We would do certain times of the year, we would pitch to the media to get them to interview the staff and learn more about the different aspects of dairy. And then at the time, National Dairy Council was interested in doing the same. And so after 10 years of my time with Mideast and really Scott Higgins, who's still there, our CEO today, really, uplifting and empowering us to try new things, I had the opportunity to take that knowledge and experience to National Dairy Council and led the work there for about 10 years, doing health and wellness partnerships. We developed partnerships with the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Dietetic Association, the School Nutrition Association. So really those professional organizations that have a stake in children's health and nutrition. And those partnerships gave us the opportunity to share with those professionals who set their own practice guidelines and policies to bring the good news about dairy to them and the science. They would give us input on our work and our programs and where they see gaps with their constituents. So for example, one of the first memorable things I learned from the pediatricians is they said, this was 25 years ago, probably 20 years ago, they were seeing moms coming into the pediatrician's office with bottles containing beverages other than milk, non-nutritive beverages, and they said, we got to look at this. This is a problem. So we were able to flag that for our nutrition research staff at National Dairy Council and DMI. They looked at some trajectories, and we shared back some information with the American Academy of Pediatrics, and they've really done a good job with their pediatricians in terms of helping them to understand the importance of talking to moms at a very early part of their motherhood about the importance of milk and children and discouraging those other beverages. And they actually have a policy statement that recommends milk and discourages, even juice, limited quantities of juice, avoid those sugary beverages that bring no nutrition. So that's just one example of how those partnerships have really been valuable. And then I also led the nutrition communications program, working with the states and regions across the country in really helping to elevate getting dairy story out through the media. And then
Awesome.
If you fast forward from there, that kind of bridged over to where I am now with GENYOUth over time.
So how did GENYOUth, become a thing? If you want to talk a little bit about the history of that and then how you made the jump over into GENYOUth.
Yeah, sure. So about 15 years ago, DMI, National Dairy Council, came together with the NFL, recognizing the school environment as an important place to reach children. They launched a program at that time called Fuel Up to Play 60. Fuel Up was the nutrition component. Play 60 was the physical activity component, and made that available to schools across the country. It quickly was, used by over 73,000 schools in this country. And however, what was quickly realized is that schools need help. In order to provide that safety net for kids and be that place where they can offer good nutrition and more physical activity, we needed to bring other public and private sector partners to the table who have a stake in youth well-being. So they formed GENYOUth at that time. It was about 15 years ago, to help again bring public sector money, private sector money to the table, and then give that back to schools across the country to help increase access to healthy school meals and increase opportunities for kids to be physically active before, during, and after the school day. So dairy remains a partner to this day. You know, the NFL is still very much engaged. While the Fuel Up to Play 60 program was sunset a few years ago, our work has stayed active. We're as strong as we've ever been. We have just such a wide diverse of organizations supporting this mission, everywhere from food companies and manufacturers to retailers. We have healthcare institutions. We have physical activity programs, professional sports. So we try to really bring together all those stakeholders in youth well-being to provide contributions to GENYOUth that we then give back to schools across the country. And since our inception, we've raised nearly $200 million. We have given grants that support 76,000 schools. We've increased access to billions of school meals, and we've benefited, hundreds of thousands of students across the country. So I think one of the strategies that we use is once we give a grant to a school, it'll continue to benefit those children for years to come. The food comes in through, USDA, and that's taken care of. So we don't have to provide the food. All the food served on the equipment we provide meets those USDA guidelines, includes milk and dairy. We're just helping that food get to more kids and helping take away those barriers to access.
Awesome. And you've been with GENYOUth, right, since the start?
Pretty much since its inception. Yes, I came in more for my nutrition expertise and to help those we were trying to contribute to the mission understand the issues, the challenges, and the opportunities. We had another CEO at the time, Alexis Glick, and she moved into another chapter of her life a few years ago, and that's when I was asked to assume the CEO position. We have a wonderful board. Barb O'Brien from DMI, CEO of DMI, is on our board. Audrey Donahoe from the Adane region is on our board and represents dairy farmers. The commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell, is on our board. And then we have, the head of Aetna Insurance. We have the head of Sloan Kettering Memorial Hospital. We have chefs. We have athletes. We have other, actually Domino's Dairy does a lot with Domino's Pizza. We have the head of Domino's North America on our board. So just a great group of supporting individuals who not only care about the mission, but support it from the seat that they're in.
Are you tired of farm gear that just doesn't keep up with your daily grind? Let me introduce you to my favorite find, the waterproof bibs from 4D Ag Fashion. These bibs are built by farmers for farmers, designed to handle the mud, the mess, and everything in between, all while keeping you dry and comfy. They are lightweight, breathable, and so much fun, coming in so many different colors from cow print, camo, teal, pink, purple, navy, green, and maroon. Whether you're working in the parlor, the barn, or tackling chores in the rain, these bibs are a total game changer. You can grab your pair at 4dagfashion.com. That's the number 4, the letter D, agfashion.com. Trust me, once you wear them, you won't want to chore in anything else. Oh, and for the month of June, free shipping for Dairy Month.
Awesome. So how has GENYOUth evolved over the years? Obviously it doesn't look exactly the same as it did when it started. So if you want to kind of bring us through the evolution and how you've changed, how you've shifted to kind of make sure that you are getting your mission done of getting those, those meals to those kids and making sure that they're staying healthy.
Yeah, I think, it's been an interesting journey, and we still see ourselves somewhat as a startup. We're still a young organization. In the early days, we're obviously formed to help increase access to nutrition and physical activity in schools. We probably tried some other things too, and then, sometimes on the quest to get financial contributions, you end up maybe going a little left or a little right of your central idea. Looking at some, for example, people came to us and said, gee, we should really do work around sleep. that type, it ladders up to health and wellness, but it was a little outside of that nutrition and physical activity. Some others were wanting to do financial literacy. Not to say that's a bad thing, but it wasn't our thing. So I would say we had a period of evolution where we were thinking like, okay, what's our unique problem that we're solving? Where do we make the most impact? We're a small organization. I say we have a small and mighty team. We have 8 people that do this work nationwide. We really needed to be focused. So we went back to our board a couple years ago when I came into my role and just said, let's take a step back. Let's find out where children are facing challenges, what unique proposition we bring that other organizations don't, where we can do our best work. And we came back to where we started. It's nutrition and physical activity and helping to increase access through schools. So we really put on a very, focused guideline for ourselves. And instead of us taking our work to the money, we're bringing the money to our work, if that makes sense. And we've been very successful doing that. I think we've been, tremendously, I guess, lucky that people, when they kind of get on the GENYOUth bus, they want to stay, which is great. And then we've been, great in bringing in new partners to support our mission. Some of the newer folks that we're working with include American Family Insurance. They support our work. Tyson's one of our newer supporters. They care deeply about children's hunger and well-being. Walmart's been working with us for the past couple of years, and they're helping to bring in some of their, the products that they sell in their stores. Hellman's and the Unilever company, again, also several dairy companies we've worked with, Dana and Schreiber Foods was just a really great partner for us with the work around what we did in Green Bay in association with the NFL draft. We took an opportunity to leverage that moment in time just a few weeks ago in collaboration with Schreiber. We raised over, $1 million. We are providing grants to over 90 Wisconsin schools. It'll increase access to 13 million school meals in the state of Wisconsin. So that's just an example where 1 + 1 + 1 is far greater than 3. By bringing these companies together and really putting forth a clear call to action, other people want to be a part of it, and the impact lasts long after the moment that we're able to bring those people together.
Good. And I love that you're an organization so focused on, the long-term impacts and not just the immediate return. Because I think a lot of organizations do get caught up in that, like immediate, like, oh, we're going to see immediate fix, immediate this, immediate that. And I think that, you have to be in it for the long game, especially when it comes to taking care of our children. And I love that you guys look at things with a lens of like, we need to make this go down the road. It needs to be something that's a continue, the gift that keeps on giving, if you will. Like you want it to just be a thing for the long term. So that's really great. Do you want to talk about a few of the really cool events that you guys do throughout the year?
Yeah, we do a couple events. And the reason we do the events, and I talk about this often, it's really about the purpose. So we hold events because they've been successful in generating revenue that then comes back to our organization that we can then give to schools to, help increase those access to healthy school meals. And one example of that is the Taste of the NFL, with the NFL being one of our founding partners. About 5 years ago, Taste of the NFL was in existence for many, many years, actually over 30 years, but about 5 years ago, they came to us and said, the mission of the Taste of the NFL is to generate dollars to end hunger. We know that's consistent with your mission. Would you like to be the host and beneficiary of this event that takes place at the Super Bowl each year? So wherever the Super Bowl is being held, the Taste of the NFL happens the day before. It's really a celebration of football and philanthropy. People want to be a part of it because we have 30 chefs, really putting forth their best bites. We have 30 football players at each of those stations signing autographs and mixing and mingling with the crowd. It's all entirely funded through other people's money, corporate sponsorships, ticket sales. We do an on-site auction, and then all of those proceeds come back to GENYOUth, and we use those dollars to support our End Student Hunger grants that go out. We open that application up. The event's held in February. We open up the grant application in March, National School Breakfast Week. And then all that equipment goes into schools before the next school year starts. So last year, we're able to fund over 900 schools with the funding that's generated from that event. And it's really one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. It also helps to elevate our profile. the good work that we do, our founding partners and their steadfast support. We, of course, I think in New Orleans, we had 30 stations. 20 of those had dairy as an ingredient in their recipes. And it's just a great way to celebrate and elevate, the food that we have in this country, the great sport of football that people love. And then, at the end of the day, it's all about developing resources that we can give back to schools.
I love it. And I've seen some different things about that event, and it seems like it's a really awesome event to be a part of. How do you said that you guys are a small team. So, how much is the NFL working with you guys to pull off an event of that measure? Or are you guys just, cloning yourselves and, really getting it done? How does that, is it a teamwork kind of thing to get that?
The NFL gives us the license to the event, basically, and they do help make some introductions to partners who may be interested in supporting it. They're with us in spirit. Our team does plan. We do outsource some of the support, and the revenue that we generate through the event pays back any expenses that we spend to put it on. So we do bring in an event producer, and we do work with a communications group that helps Belmont, that helps visibility, grow visibility. But they do some pro bono too. So it's kind of, we have to spend some on the event. We do get some in-kind support for the event, but it's really our small and mighty team and the relationships that we've developed with the sponsors over the years. We do have to, sell the sponsorships and make sure, that we're covering the costs with other people's money. That's first and foremost. But at the end of the day, we're really doing it because the net proceeds go back to schools. So it's always kind of a whoosh, once we meet the bottom line, but we're not done. We want to double that. So we have, a lot of dollars going back to schools. And we work with the chefs. We engage the chefs. We engage the players. It's a project, but it is our biggest fundraiser of the year. And it consistently has well exceeded the investment in terms of the revenue that goes back to schools as a result.
Awesome. Before we slide into our next segment, do you have anything else you want to share about, your time at GENYOUth, anything like that?
Yeah, the only other piece I would share, and I think I mentioned this with our National Youth Council, we are very youth driven, and we've taken the care to not only engage the voices of youth through our National Youth Council, but we also do national surveys of youth. Each year we do 2 surveys, nationally represented sample, and we want to really round out our learning. So we ask them about their school meal experience, their experience with hunger. We talk about, access. We talk about the connection in their mind between nutrition and physical activity. And do they see that relationship and the inextricable link? We take those learnings, we publish reports, and then we actually go out and share this information with other stakeholders in this space at professional meetings. And it's not just me or one of the team members on the podium. We have a student right there with us. We bring students into our board meeting. We bring students into, media interviews. So we really want to elevate and engage youth voice. They're our future leaders. And I look back now that we've been in the business for 15 years, a lot of the kids that we've worked with are now, they're in their own careers. They've chosen to be many of them in the field of health and well-being or philanthropy. So it's fun to see not only how are they helping lead change when they're a student, but how they're carrying this with them into their future. And even as parents, I think a lot of what they've learned and experienced through their work with us is carrying on, and hopefully will, inform how they're going to feed their own children. We also take them to dairy farms. We either bring the farmer to the kids or we bring the kids to the farm. And that's a great experience for those children too, because many kids, the only milk they see is, in the grocery store at their home, and understanding where that food comes from and being able to, actually Audrey's coming to our youth convening in just a couple weeks. We're bringing our youth council together, and Audrey Donahoe will be there to talk to the kids about dairy farming and all of the pieces that kind of come into that equation with care for the cow and the environment and the product and the nutrition. And then it's going to be in the Dane region. So we're actually engaging with the Dane staff to be participants in this as well.
I love it. I'm so excited. I'm excited for the program. I'm excited for the future of the program, and I can't wait to see the great things that you guys accomplish. So
thank you. I'm excited that you're excited. That's good.
I'm excited. We're here. Let's go. See? So I love to transition just into some fun rapid fire questions for you. The good news is it's about you. So I just want you to answer like first instincts,
Top of my mind.
Cats or dogs?
Dog, for sure.
Dogs.
Dog, yes. Although a non-shedding dog. We just had this conversation. A dog that does not shed, I'll be clear.
One that does not shed, gets hair all over the place. Yeah.
Yes.
Morning person or night owl?
I used to be a night owl. I think I've transitioned to be more of a morning person.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All of it.
With milk.
Atta girl, same. I'm sitting here. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm sitting here.
A little coffee with my milk versus a little milk with my coffee.
Yeah, I too like a little coffee with my milk, but lots of it. Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Pizza or burgers?
Probably pizza.
That one always gets people. I had someone the other day, they were like, pizza. No, wait, burger. No, pizza. I don't know.
I know. You can't go wrong. I know. But I would say my first instinct was pizza. So I'll go with that.
Favorite sport?
Probably football, and soccer is a close second.
I'm going to say that's a good answer for where your position lies.
Yeah.
That was a trick question. You passed the test. You're good.
Yeah. I should say baseball. My dad was a pitcher at Ohio State back in the day. And I do like baseball. It's just a little slower moving game. So, but I went to Ohio
Different
State.
Season. You're good. You can like them all.
You can't go to Ohio State without being a football fan. So I'll pick football.
There you go. What's like your favorite holiday tradition memory type thing?
Okay, I would say probably Easter. My grandparents lived in southeastern Ohio, which always was spring there. It was spring sprung there before it did where I grew up. And I just remember being there in the springtime, and we did the Easter egg hunts and the real outside grass. And, you know, it was very much about together time and family. And that whole, every time the buds start blooming here, I remember the green grass, the Easter egg hunts, and being with family.
Awesome. I love it. Favorite music genre?
I think I like a lot. Boy, that's a tough one.
The tough questions, you know?
Yeah.
Right now, you're going to listen to music.
I know. I would say like the traditional rock and roll. Traditional.
Yes. None of that newfangled stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Back when real people actually played the real instruments versus, a lot of the electronic background.
The rock and roll that my mom listens to.
Probably, yes.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oreo cookie and cream, I would say.
Cookies and cream is a good solid choice.
Yes. Cookie dough is my next favorite. That's the runner up.
Also a solid choice. Yes.
What's yours?
So there is I have two answers for this because it depends on the brand. So if I'm just going, we have Stewart's. I don't know if you know what a Stewart's is.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
So they actually have a milk plant here in New York, and they make ice cream, and they do, just regular gallons of milk. But it's brownie cookie sundae from Stewart, like your chocolate chip cookie dough, but it has cookie dough chunks and brownie chunks, and then a chocolate swirl and a vanilla ice cream.
Sounds amazing.
Brownie cookie sundae is a strong front runner from that kind of stuff. And then like local place, we have a farm 20, 30 minutes from me, and they make their own ice cream, and they have a lemon ice cream, like a creamy lemon ice cream.
Oh, that sounds delicious too.
Yes. So those are my two answers, because I will never turn down lemon ice cream, but brownie cookie sundae is
my vice. I always have ice cream here. It's always, there's always ice cream in the house.
Yes, as do I. So, I mean, the cool people have ice cream in the house.
That's right.
Cool people
all the time. And we each have our own flavor. And my husband, I kind of put him on it. This is your container and this is my container.
It's so funny because I'm the same way. And if he touches my brownie cookie sundae, like the daggers come out, and I'm like,
look out. Yeah.
Even my kids know, like, you don't touch mom's ice cream.
Ever. That's right.
No, you just don't do it. There's things you don't do.
We might be sisters. we might be related in some way.
You just can't. It's like that craving. I mean, we could have worse addictions, right?
Yeah, true.
Ice cream is our vice. Always will be. You are on the road. You need like a quick meal. What are you going for?
I usually try to grab something with some protein. And it depends on how quick it is. If it's really quick, cheese and crackers is my go-to because it'll sustain me and fill me up. If I have time to sit down, that's where the pizza probably or the burger will come in handy. And it's It is my go-to. I like salads, but when I'm on the run and I really need, I don't know when I'm going to eat again, the salad just doesn't do it for me.
Just doesn't cut it. Yep. I
Yeah.
feel you.
Yeah.
Gotta have something hearty.
Yes.
Good. Let's see. What's your favorite way to spend a day off?
I'd love to be outside, hiking, really just being out in nature is my preference. In fact, Mother's Day, I live near the Great Lakes, and it's National Migratory Bird Week. For our Mother's Day time together, we went out to a place right by the shores of Lake Erie where the birds stop before they migrate over to Canada for the summer. And it was really an enjoyable day. We had beautiful weather. The birds were, they were basically dripping off the trees. There were so many really pretty the warblers.
It's a bird rest stop, if you will.
It is. And instead of the cheese and crackers, they're getting their bugs, but it was a lot of fun. And everyone out there is there for the same reason. So it's kind of a nice community of people that come together really from all over the country. So
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, you'll have to come over. You'll have to come over. I mean, really I don't know if it starts as far east as Erie. It probably does, but then all the way across over to Northwest Ohio and even Chicago. There's some areas there, but along the Great Lakes that border.
I'm just starting to dabble in being a bird lady because I'm actually scared of birds. So.
Okay. The big ones I'm not as much a fan of, but these are cute little ones and they're bright color. They're really pretty colors.
Little birds are cute, but I just got myself over the winter I had a bird feeder and like a little suet thing, and then I got my hummingbird feeder out, and we had our first, this is the first year I put one out. We got our first, seen 2 hummingbirds at it so far.
That's great. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
So
hiking, biking, outdoors. Used to be a camper. I've kind of not as much of a camper. I do camp on occasion, but love just anything outdoors.
My opinion on camping is I'd rather sleep in a bed than on the ground. I like glamping, if you will.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So, coolest place you've ever traveled, whether it be for work or personal. I always ask the traveling questions because I love traveling.
Yeah. Well, of course, our visits to the dairy farms over the course of my career have been that's a highlight. That is one. And then we're big fans of national parks. So we do try. My younger son, who's not that young anymore, he's 23. His goal is to get to every national park. So we've kind of made a commitment to do as many of those together as we can. So we love Acadia National Park in Maine. It's beautiful, gorgeous, ocean, mountains, lots to do there. A glacier is beautiful in Montana. We really like that. And then even, I guess another favorite was Joshua Tree in California. Very unique topography and scenery. So, and this summer, we're going to Isle Royale, which is a national park in Lake Superior between the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and Canada. You can only get there by boat and it's pretty rustic. So wish me luck, but we're going to check that one off this summer.
I love it. I've been to a couple national parks, but most recently we went to Zion.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I didn't realize I was scared of heights until I was there, but here we are. We survived. It's fine.
You're up pretty high. Did you do the Angel's Landing?
So we went on a more simple one the first day we got there, and it was my husband and I, and then it was my husband's close friend and his wife, which we're all friends, And we just did a shorter walk the first day when we got there, and we got like maybe 3/4 of the way up, zigzagging back and forth along the cliff. And all of a sudden I had this dumb idea, and I kind of looked out and I was like, oh no. And that was the end of that. And I struggled to get even back down, but I did make it. Our friends, they wanted to do Angel's Landing, which if you are listening and you've never been to Angel's Landing or seen it, just YouTube it because you'll understand what I'm talking about. So my husband and I hiked up until the trail gets real sketchy. And there wide spot to like hang, so we literally just kind of hung out there until our friends went through the whole thing and then came back.
I know the spot. I know.
Yes. So needless to say, we did not do the full Angel's Landing.
Your
girl would have died, not have survived.
It's hard. It's a hard hike. Really
I don't think I would have fallen. I think that I would have more panic attacked and just given myself a heart attack.
My legs were shaking on it. It is a little. I did it once. I don't need to do it again.
That off the list. Crossed it off. We're done. Let's move on.
Yes.
Dear. And then, so your bucket list trip. something
Oh,
that it's just one of those, like, it's the top of the top, like something that
yeah.
you would love to do.
Yeah. One or two places. I'd love to go like to the interior of Alaska, and that's where a lot of national parks are. It's going to take a little time, so I'm saving that for when I'm retired down the road and have more time to do that. But I am looking forward to that. And I also want to get to Costa Rica. I don't know why, but it just seems beautiful. And again, lots of nature and lots of different ecosystems in one small area. So I'd like to get there one day too, but have not yet done
Yeah,
that.
that one. I don't know about the interior of Alaska because I think that I'm not quite rugged. I mean, I'm a farmer, but I'm not quite rugged enough to go to the interior of Alaska. When I see Alaska, I think I'm going to see it by cruise ship and like excursions and call it a day.
Yeah, yeah.
My husband is going on a hunting trip this coming fall, and he's going to the middle of nowheres, but I think it's Nova Scotia.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
going to find out exactly before he goes, so I do have an
Yeah,
idea
good idea.
where in the world he is. But anyways, it's like ferry driving for days. They like helicopter in, and I'm
Yeah,
just like, I
yeah. That's pretty hardy.
girl needs her. I need to be in a spot of somewhat convenience. I am not a rugged outdoorsy camper type person. Like,
Yeah,
I'm good, but I
yeah,
cannot.
yeah. Well, hopefully he'll bring back some souvenirs. Some game, or is he?
Moose. We're going for
Yes.
moose. So
Okay. Well,
that's
then
the name of the game.
he can bring a little bit home for it. Yeah, you can enjoy it.
Yes. Well, hopefully he brings back a lot, seeing as
Yeah.
should be coming home with a whole moose. So,
Yeah, great.
but I'm almost panicking because he's not panicking, but I'm panicking for him. So
Yeah.
that's how that goes.
I'm sure he'll do well.
He'll be fine. He's a lot tougher than I am. So. Oh dear. So I love to have my guests leave a deeper thought question for future guests. Whoever left this didn't know that it was going.
Okay.
So this is not so rapid fire. This one you might need to think about.
All right.
What is your favorite part about the role you play in your job?
Oh, there's so many. I love so many parts of it. I guess at the core of it all is that the work we're doing will have a lasting impact for children, ensuring they, have access to healthy meals. That really is what gets, and opportunities to be physically active. But I think at the end of the day, that's not only what gets me out of bed, it gets my team out of bed each morning. And that we know we're representing such good people, dairy farmers in that quest. I think that I would say that's my favorite part.
I love it. And do you have a quote for you or for us?
I do. Yes, I have two, but I think I'll pick the one from Helen Keller that I really like. It's alone we can do so little, and together we can do so much. And that really, I'm a believer in that for many reasons, but I've actually seen the power of the collective action and the work we do here at GENYOUth. Each of us can do good independently, but when we bring together those people that share in this mission, we're able to accelerate our progress and our impact in ways that would not be possible with anyone working in an individual capacity.
Awesome. And that fits you to a T. I love it. That's great.
Right. Good. Good.
And it's funny how the quotes that people choose, it always ties back into the conversation when you don't necessarily know the way that the conversation is going to go. So it always works out.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. You should have a book. You should publish a book after doing all these interviews of the inspiring quotes.
Yes, there's been some really good ones, but it's funny because people always come with the quote. And when they say the quote, they're like, yes, that exactly ties in to what we talked about. So I like it. It's some type of little magic, Apparently I'm magic. Ann Marie, thank you so much for joining me. Where can people, see what you're up to? Where can people see what GENYOUth is up to?
I would recommend following us you can go to our website. It's genyouthnow.org, GENYOUTH now, all one word, .org. And then we're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and you can see all the work and, the impact that we're making. And June Dairy Month is right around the corner. So we will be celebrating that through our social media as well. So I think those are the best places.
Awesome. Any last parting words, Ann Marie?
Well, thank you to you, Val, for your interest in my career trajectory and the work of GenYouth. And thanks to dairy farmers for their commitment and support to, most importantly, producing such a healthy, safe product that nourishes children and families, not only here in this country, but across the world, but also for your foundational support of the work that we do.
Oh, thank you so much, Ann Marie, for joining us today. Thank you guys all for listening. Please be sure to go follow GenYouth and do what you can to support them, because they really do have a fantastic mission, and they're really great people on top of that, which makes it even better.
Thank you.
And please share this episode with a friend, leave us a comment, review, all the things, and be sure to subscribe so that you get future episode updates. Thanks again, everybody, and we will talk to you next week. Have a good day.
Hey, Dairy Hour listeners, if you're enjoying the show, leaving a review is the best way to help us grow and reach more people. Plus, I've got a little thank you for you. Snap a screenshot of your review, message it to me at DairyGalVal, and I will be sure to send some fun Dairy Hour stickers your way. Thanks for supporting the podcast, and I cannot wait to mail you some swag.